Hello, everyone. It's been a minute. I think I haven't sprinted since like April. Because I think it was right at the end of April, the last time I did sprints, and my computer decided to go all screwy on me. I think that sounds right. And since then, my life has been absolute chaos. How is everyone? Hey, everyone, cross your fingers that Chris's computer is able to handle sprinting today. Yes, we're keeping our fingers crossed. I'm not going to be doing no crazy 7 hours worth of sprints. I'm thinking, maybe 4 sprints just to, ease back into things. We'll see. I haven't had an issue lately, but you never know. Basically, the last time I sprinted, if you watch the last long sprint, you'll see me end up leaving and it crashes. What's happening is the bottom bar on my computer will disappear, and then the whole computer locks up, and I have no choice but to just sit here until it crashes. So we are very much hoping that doesn't happen today. And Mary said hello to Phoenix. I thought the message was a joke. I'm really hoping my computer can tolerate the sprints. And Mary asked Phoenix how they're doing. Phoenix said, "Hey, hi, hello. How's everyone doing these days?" Yeah, it's been a minute for our little crew. And Sue is here and said hi. Phoenix said hi to Sue. And Mary said, "It has been ages. Hi, Chris. Lovely to see you." It's nice to see you too, Mary. I watch Kelly's sprints back almost every day, so I've seen you in Kelly's chat. You had a rough night, so sleep deprived and happy to have the company. I went to bed around 8. And then I got up at 2, had some food, and settled back into bed, was watching a YouTube video, and the next thing I knew, it was 6:30. Whoops. Apparently, I needed some more sleep. And Mary said hi to Sue, and Sue said hi to Phoenix and Mary. Yeah, it has definitely been a minute since I've been here. And I have missed you all. So we're hoping this works and I can do this on a more regular basis. I don't want to make any promises, but it all depends on how things are going in my house with my mom and stuff, and whether I get enough sleep or whether I'm having days where I'm drained. Like yesterday I'd wanted to sprint, but my allergies were so bad. I got up and I almost fell over because of how off my equilibrium was. So I felt really dizzy. So all I wanted to do was just lay with my head still yesterday. I am going to be working on reading The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love because I'm playing Libby Chicken, and this is due back tomorrow, so I'm going to listen to this. Fun fact, the audiobook narrator on this is the same one as the Lady Hardcastle books, so I know I like the audio narrator, which is really exciting because good audio narration can make a decent book better and can make a good book worse depending on the audio narration. I really like Kelly sprints too. They've been really good. The reason y'all have all of the videos that you do is because of Kelly sprints. And I can tell you, as of right now, I have nothing to edit. There is nothing for me to edit. I can't edit anything. I'm going to have stuff tonight because I have to film the winner of the Rocky's Rainbow Book Club pick, which y'all have 4 more hours left to vote, and the voting is so tight. So if y'all haven't voted, you should go do that. And then I'll have my vlog wrap up, but I won't be filming that till Monday. So that'll be interesting. Very interesting. But I'm all caught up on editing right now. And my June haul is filmed. So I'm all caught up on filming book haul. I have nothing to film. I couldn't film to edit if I wanted to right now, except once I film Rockies, and that'll be a really quick edit. So the reason that is happening is specifically because I've been watching Kelly sprints and editing and stuff while watching them. You just woke up from a nap yourself. I didn't intend to take a nap. My body went, "You're going back to bed." You went to bed around 10 and got a few hours or so. Like I said, I went to bed around 8. I'm guessing you haven't watched my vlogs. My mom has cancer, and we found out, well, most likely, we're still waiting on the results, but the doctors made it very clear that there's a very, very, very small percentage chance that the masses that are in her lungs are not cancer. So I wouldn't say they're well. None of us are well, because I have to stay up with her at night because she's on oxygen and she's got this like really long cord. So somebody has to manage the cord if she wants to go to the bathroom. So that's why. Another reason why I haven't even attempted to sprint is because I have been dealing with that since the beginning of June. You're not sure what you'll be doing? Fair. Yes, I'm here. You called me and I appeared. Yeah, I was talking about your sprints and how they've helped me get through things. I've been watching them back. You're listening to the Breakup Retreat, Annette Kelly. Nice. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And Kelly said, happy time zone, my friends. Oh, yeah, you still need to watch and vote. Yes. It is interesting. I never know what y'all are going to do, and it's always so surprising to me. Like, the book for April, I think it was April. No, June. June, The Color Purple, just completely smashed everything else. Like, nothing was even close. And this month's choice, I've watched it all. Like, I'm pretty sure they've all led at some point because that's how close the voting has been. And Mary said, thanks, Kelly. Or there's Kelly. And then Kelly did the hand pink waving to Mary. And Sue said hi to Kelly. And Kelly waved to Sue. Thank you for that. It's made for a very rough, like, 6 weeks or so. Because she's gone to the hospital twice. Basically, we thought at first she had, like, a cold. And then when it wasn't getting better, we were thinking more like bronchitis or pneumonia. And when she finally got in, they found out that her right lung was collapsed. And so she had to go to the ER. And that's when we found out about the masses. And then she came home for a bit. And basically fluid had built up on her lung the first time. And it built up again. And that sent her back. And this was after like 3 days of having to be in my parents' room because it was during the heat wave at the beginning of July. And we only have air conditioning in the bedroom, and it was too hot for her to be in the living room. She's claustrophobic, so she doesn't like to hang out in my parents' room. And she had to be in there for like 3.5 days straight and was miserable. But of course, because she was in there, we weren't seeing that the fluid had built back up. What made us realize it was the fact that she stopped eating because the fluid presses on her stomach and makes her not feel hungry. And then she had to go back, and it was really rough because we were in the process of losing Stormy at the same time. He was not doing great, and had things been normal with my mom, we probably would have brought him to the vet. Unfortunately, because things were going on with my mom, we just had no way to get him there, and then the spoons and stuff to try to logistically figure that out while we were also dealing with my mom. So my mom went back to the ER on the 4th, and then we lost Stormy on the 5th. So it's been very much a rough few weeks, and I have missed hanging out with y'all. But normally I'm up at I take the night shift because my dad needs to be up for like phone calls and appointments and stuff. So I have been taking the night shift. So like the best times for me to sprint when I'm like wide awake is like 3 a.m. my time, and I'm pretty sure most of you are sleeping at that point. Yes, thank you for that, Phoenix. You were moved from your home to assisted living. Love and hugs to you for watching the oxygen tube. I trip over mine daily. Yeah, it's a really long cord. So somebody has to watch it. And like, if we also have to watch the cats around it because they think it's a big green snake. And sometimes they try to chase it. We can't have them playing with the oxygen cord either. So that's been rough. And of course, we spend a lot of time trying to get her to eat because she's still not really hungry. And somehow we have turned into a house with 2 vegetarians because apparently all meat tastes yucky to her now. So that has made things even harder because she needs to have protein. So it has been very, very stressful. Luckily, I have had lots of kitties giving me cuddles. Donner has kind of decided she likes to hang out in my room. So I've had a lot of Donner. She's in here right now. Rocky is curled up in my bed. Porky's been in here a lot. Bugsy, obviously. Who else? Beanie was in here almost all of yesterday while I was ill. So that was nice. You know, if you do sprint in the middle of the night, wee hours. Well, yes, I know you would be there. But you're probably the exception to the rule. But But it is something I've thought about doing because there's based on the there's a spreadsheet that has been put together with all these different sprinting times, and there seems to be a lull in the middle of the night, as is evident by the fact that once I get done with Kelly's sprints, I'm constantly looking for somebody else's sprints to hop on just so that I feel less alone. Do you have her on Ensure or something like that? No, I've been making protein shakes for her, which she'll drink. And we just got these things called Magic Cups. She was a CNA. So I was like, what are those things that you used to give your residents that you'd make little milkshakes out of that were good for them when they were like not eating? And she couldn't remember what they were called, but luckily one of her friends is still working, and we texted her and she was like, oh, Magic Cups. So we got some of those. So she started to eat those, which is helpful because she's really into like fruit cups, which don't have a lot of calories. We can get her to eat some yogurt, but again, not a lot of calories. Like there's this balance of like trying to get her to eat enough protein because she really needs the protein, but at the same time, also trying to get enough calories because there have been some days where like she's been eating 500-600 calories and that's not enough. It's just not. I've missed you. Kelly sprints similarly to you. On time, on track. You know I love that. I met you doing sprints in the middle of the night. Yes, I used to do them in the middle of the night a long time ago. And that was really nice because it was kind of like I got to figure out what I was doing with like low pressure because not as many people were around. And I was also a much smaller channel. I mean, I'm still a small channel, but I had a lot less followers back then, which I think helped and allowed me to figure out what I was doing here and what I wanted it to be without the pressure of a lot of people. And yes, Kelly's pretty much right on time with things. Although I will say sometimes I love the little tangents that Kelly and Alicia go on. It can be fun sometimes. And all week I've been hoping that Alicia's daughter feels better. For sure, that's Christina, BookTube Mama's Bibble. It has all the sprints she knows about and all the readathons she knows about. Yeah, it is very, very helpful. I've started accessing it so that like if there are sprints on in the middle of the night while I'm up anyways, I can throw that person some views, and it's like having somebody around and just helps break up the quiet a little bit. That's right, Mary. You would show up in the middle of the night sprints. Yes? That works. They have my husband on the Nestle protein drinks. We're just trying any way we can to get protein in her. I think today she's had one of those Magic Cups, which is 290 calories and has like 9 grams of protein. And I had left her with a fruit cup this morning, and my dad said she had like half a tomato sandwich and some potato chips. And when I went out after I ate my dinner, she was eating some cauliflower and broccoli. And Mary said, yes, Phoenix. I feel for your mom. I know the struggle of trying to get enough protein in food and stuff when dealing with stuff. It can be rough to find stuff that works, and it's so frustrating. She's very frustrating because she's like, we don't quite understand why all of a sudden all of the food she used to eat just taste gross. And so it's made it really hard to find out if, you know, like we've run out of suggestions because everything we suggest, she's just like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. But then she'll get frustrated when we insist she eats something because she doesn't want anything. And we're also frustrated because she's a CNA. She knows this stuff. And I can tell you, for the first time in the history of my entire life, the stress got to me so bad after we lost Stormy that I lost my appetite. And I had a sinus infection on top of it, which, you know, the second time I've had a sinus infection this year, and both were caused by massive amounts of stress. And that contributed to me not wanting to eat. And I ate anyways. I'm still working my way through that of like not having really any desire to eat, but forcing myself to eat anyways because I know I need the food. Hey, if I know I will get up and sprint with you. It's more of a, it would be more of a, do I feel like doing this right now? But it's also harder because I never know when my mom's going to text, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. So that makes it a little bit trickier at night. But I also know that if I said to y'all, hey, I'm going to kick us into the next sprint, I'll try to chat more next time, my mom's got to, like, I got to go, y'all would probably understand. Do you hear from Omi? Yes, all the time. I talk to Omi on Discord almost every day. They are going to try to pop on later. They have thunderstorms in their area right now, so they don't want to plug their computer in, but they're hoping that I'll still be sprinting once the thunderstorms make their way through. I've had good luck with only what you need protein drinks, allergy free. Interesting. I will keep that in mind. Right now, the magic cups seem to be working. Yeah, Chris freaked out when they lost their appetite, but handled it well. I tried. It was good that I had you because you reminded me that like this is not abnormal. This is like a completely normal thing when you're dealing with anxiety is to lose your appetite. And for me, like even though it is not what I typically experience, I am also thinking I'm experiencing more anxiety than I've ever experienced in my life, despite having an anxiety disorder. So, you know, I'm rolling with it. See, a lot of people have suggested that, but she's only on 2 meds. One is for her heart and like blood pressure. And several of my aunts have been on it, and my aunt didn't say anything. Like it makes her tired, but didn't say anything about it changing your taste buds. And the other one she's been on for years. So I have no idea why. Like we just don't understand. Also, fun fact, and this is one that we really don't understand. My mom was a smoker, and she woke up one day and just stopped. Had no desire to smoke, and we were like, "That's really weird." I think that's when we started thinking it was more than just a cold, because all of a sudden she just wasn't smoking, which was so odd. And she wasn't like a 1 or 2 cigarettes a day. She was like probably like a pack a day. So to go from that to nothing is very strange. Yeah, but if you're sprinting and have to bail, I'll hold the chat. That's true. There are several of you that would hold the chat for me if I had to, you know, go run and help my mom with the oxygen cord. Hello, Nicole. How have you been? And Phoenix said hi to Nicole. Yeah, we understand if sprints are longer. Well, I would still do the 30-minute sprints. It would be more of a knowing the timing. Of course, my mom would text me that, you know, she needed to go to the bathroom right in the middle of a chatty bit. That would be when she texted. So I would probably just kick the next sprint in early. And Sue said hi to Nicole. And Nicole said hi to Mary and Phoenix and Sue and everyone else. Good to see the regulars. Yes, it seems like all of my regulars are here. Mary said hi to Nicole. And Kelly waved to Nicole. And Nicole said hi to Kelly. My taste buds changed a lot due to hormones. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if hormones would necessarily be her issue. I mean, she's like, my brain just blanked. She's 75, so I don't know if that would affect things. Sorry to hear taste buds are impacted. Yeah, it stinks. It's been very frustrating for her. Also, quitting smoking changes the taste of things. Yeah, but a lot of people said that makes things like you can actually taste the flavor. So does that mean she didn't like it all along and the only reason she ate any of these things was because she couldn't taste it? The oxygen can do it. Whoa, not smoking changes your appetite as well. Yeah. I didn't know the oxygen could do it. That's good to know. I've been well. I definitely missed stuff, but I'll go back and watch the chat during sprints. Yeah, I've had a lot of stuff going on, and I'd rather not repeat it because none of it is good. Anywho, I think we're caught up on the chat, so maybe we should kick off the first sprint. Because again, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm hoping my computer will run so I can actually get in some reading with you all. So let's kick off this first sprint and at least get one in. I will see you all in 30. How do we do? I got to page 78. I'm enjoying this. I'm having a good time with it. Some of it could be because of the audio narration and having a fondness for this particular voice actor, but I am enjoying the story. I don't think it's going to be a new favorite because there's a romance bit in it that is definitely a big part of the plot, and I don't know if I'm going to love how much of the plot that is, but I am enjoying the story so far, and there's definitely been some moments that have made me chuckle. Let's see. Mary's still reading mermaid pirate stuff. I got one of those too. And I have two left. I have this one, and I have The Tapestry of Fate. And I didn't feel like diving back into this one right now. And The Tapestry of Fate is across the room on the pillow because I was going to read some this afternoon before I fell asleep on accident. And so this one was over here, so I decided to read this one during sprints because it meant I didn't have to disturb the cats. But I have two left for Mermaid Marathon. I think, fingers crossed, I am actually going to finish them. Totally could be. As a smoker myself, I'd say part of the reason I smoke is it dulls my senses, so less sensory overload, and that includes food taste. I mean, I know my mom quit smoking when she was pregnant with me. But otherwise, I think she has smoked continuously since after she had my brother. And that would have been in 72. So, other than the 9 months she was pregnant with me, she smoked continuously. So it is absolutely possible that the way food tasted when she was smoking is very different than the way it tastes now. I think it actually made it easier for me to eat a wide variety of foods. So I could totally see that. It could be, hey everyone, I just got home. I'm going to try to finish reading the Legends and Lattes graphic novel. How is it, Manda? And we have several hellos back and forth here that came in while I was reading. So very many. All that talk of food reminded me I've not yet eaten today, so starting out with eating some mac and cheese with tuna. I've had part of a roll of crackers and 5 Impossible Nuggets, and that's it. And Omi said, hello, everyone. Hello, Omi. Seems like the thunderstorm moved through. Amanda said, sounds like a great idea, Phoenix. And some hellos to Omi. And Omi replying. And another hello to Omi. And another hello to Omi. Which was in response to Omi saying, I've been craving mac and cheese, Phoenix. LOL, hope you enjoy. And Phoenix is enjoying it. Also just voted for August book for Rocky's Rainbow. That was a tough choice. They all seem interesting, so hopefully I'll eventually read them all. They do. My goal is to see how many of the books recommended for Rocky's Rainbow, like that I picked for Rocky's Rainbow Book Club, I can actually get through, along with my Rocky's Rainbow Readathon TBR. Because I figure if I'm concentrating on both, the odds of me actually hitting all of the prompts on the bingo board are heightened, although it is going to be tricky because my dad is already struggling with all of the running around and responsibilities he's had to take over with my mom. And so I'm not using the library because I have no way to get the library books. So I can't get any physical books from the library right now, which means if I want a physical copy or there is no digital way for me to do it, I have to buy it. So I did not factor that into my plans when I was creating either Rocky's Rainbow Book Club picks or the my readathon picks. And remember, if you are in the Discord, you can vote twice, once on my community tab and once in the Discord. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Let me go vote right now. You meant to the other day and time just got away from me. I was wondering if you did end up voting or not. LOL, I needed a reminder too, so happy I could help out. I don't have to. I have to just remember to make sure that I go on at midnight tonight and capture the winner because that's what I tend to forget. Oh man, that was tough. There were 2 that really called to me, so I voted for one on YouTube and the other on Discord. Nice. See, that's one of the benefits of being in the Discord, is that if there are 2 books, you can vote for both of them. You still have 25 pages. Nice. You made it to 71%. You should have finished in 2 sprints. I will not be finishing this tonight. I won't be finishing it on sprints because I don't want to tax my computer too hard. And I still have just under 8 hours, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 6 sprints. And I'm not planning on doing 6 more sprints. You got to page 361 of 514 in My Calamity Jane. It's cute and a nice palate cleanser book. Yeah, I think you mentioned something on your sprints about getting to read that and how much you're enjoying that series and how fun it is. I ate, so haven't settled into anything yet. But you ate, which for you is very productive sprint. You really need to continue the My Lady Jane series. I never read past the first one. It's one I've seen and wanted to get to. I just haven't. I keep forgetting about it. You got to 44% in the Legends and Lattes graphic novel. I'm hoping to get through more next sprint. Nice. It's super cute, Manda. I had such a good time with My Plain Jane, too. I really should look into that series. I didn't even know there's a Legends and Lattes graphic novel. Consider me out of the loop on so much. He's got 2 coming out. He's got the Legends and Lattes graphic novel and then Tales from the Territories, which I think are short stories in the Legends and Lattes universe that are coming out this fall. The art is fun. I'm really liking seeing these characters coming to life, and it's been a long time since I read Legends and Lattes, but it feels pretty accurate to the original. Nice. That is always a consideration for me when I'm picking up a graphic novel adaptation is, am I going to like the way the adaptation, comes to life? And I think, I don't like the Percy Jackson ones. I tried those and didn't enjoy them, so I only ever read the first. I think I read the first 2 and didn't enjoy them. The Warriors graphic novels are interesting because it brings the cats to life, which I think is really cool. But they changed some things in, I've read the first arc, and I was reading the first arc graphic novels while I was doing my reread of the first arc. So the first arc was very, very fresh. And there were things they changed. There were, certain events, I want to say, in the second graphic novel, which covers books 3 and 4, where some things happened in a different order than they happened in the first book, or in those 2 books. There was an important thing that happens in either book 3 or 4 that was kind of glossed over, and I didn't like how that was glossed over. There was a change with a character that wasn't involved in certain conversations, but in the graphic novels they were, and I don't know why they added that character in when they weren't there in the books. However, there is one change they added to the graphic novels that pretty much universally any Warriors fan absolutely loves, but I can't tell you what it is because I don't know how to tell you what it is without kind of spoiling things, even though it is now canon for the first arc via the graphic novels. It didn't happen in the main books. It is something that is completely absent, did not happen, was never referenced, has never at any point been referenced in the entirety of the series, but was included in this in the 3rd graphic novel adaptation and is universally beloved by Warriors fans. I don't know. I'm trying to think because I've planned out the schedule for the Warriors buddy read for the rest of the year. And I'm trying to figure out, if we'd be far enough in for me to be able to talk about it. And I don't know. Yes, thunderstorm thankfully over. The dog got on top of my back to hide between the couch and me. Aww. Our cats hide under the couch. Yay. Glad mac and cheese is being enjoyed. Every time I make macaroni and cheese, it sounds so much better in my head. It could be because I make it with almond milk and not cow's milk now, and that changes the taste of it, so it's not the same, and I'm using brown rice pasta instead of the pasta that comes with the box because I can't eat that pasta anymore. It bothers my stomach, so my brain is expecting it to taste one way, and then when I make it, it tastes completely different. Phoenix, it comes out in October. I got it on NetGalley and knew I needed to read it immediately. I could never do that. Like, I don't like reading like graphic novels or mangas or anything like that on a device. I want the physical book. Sorry, picturing a pup crawling on you to hide between you and the couch is cracking me up. It is a funny image. Amanda, is the art style similar to the original cover or different? That's a good question. Haha. Yeah, he hates thunderstorms and does some wild stuff. Like I said, our cats hide under the couch. I love when a graphic novel adaptation captures the story well enough to be a way to dip into familiar stories without having to reread the whole book, the equivalent of watching a cartoon adaptation. I would say the Warriors books do that well. Like, definitely don't read them instead of reading the main book, because they're more, like I said it in my haul, because I just hauled the first graphic novel for the second arc, and I said in my haul for June, like, these are companions. If you have not read the main arc, you're going to be missing so much based on my reading of the companion novel, the graphic novels from the first arc. So I truly think that, like, if you're reading that with them, or you've read the Warrior series enough that you know kind of what's going on, then you don't necessarily need it to be perfect. But as somebody who likes adaptations that are pretty faithful, there were stuff that bugged me in the Warriors ones. One of the best ones I've read is The Keeper of the Lost Cities. If you've ever seen The Keeper of the Lost Cities books, they're like this. And Shannon Messenger split the first book into 2 graphic novels, and it does such a fantastic job of bringing that world to life and feeling like you're getting the story. I didn't have any problems with those. I really enjoyed them. You still need to read Legends and Lattes. It's such a good book, Omi. It's such a good book. Phoenix, I shared the link to the Storygraph in Discord. The art is different, but I still like it. Yeah, it is interesting seeing how people bring the story to life. I think there's 2 different artists for Keeper of the Lost Cities. I could be wrong, but like, it's really interesting just seeing how different people interpret different characters and the different art styles that people can come up with. There we go. And Phoenix said, thanks, Manda. And luckily, Moto Kitty doesn't care about Thunder. Yeah. We have a few that don't care, but several of them go diving under the couch. I think Coco does it because he was caught in a storm when he was outside. Like, several of them, I mean, a bunch of my cats lived outside at one point. So I think some of the scare of Thunder was them living outside during thunderstorms. You can't use almond milk in mac and cheese. I use soy or oat milk. I've never tried soy or oat milk. I've only ever used almond milk, so maybe that is something I should try down the line. You don't like graphic stuff digitally, but I will use it to check stuff out before spending money. It's harder for me to get a hold of graphic novels other than digitally. Yes. That's going to be my problem, is I won't want to read it digitally. So any graphic novels or manga I need to read or want to read in the next whoever, like, I don't know how long, I'm either going to have to buy or read digitally, and I don't like reading them digitally, especially considering I'm reading them on my phone. Do you know how hard it is to read a graphic novel panel on your phone? Because it's not big enough for me to read if it's just like the size of the phone. So I have to like zoom in and then scroll this way and then go back and down and scroll. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm reading it on my computer because my phone just wasn't a great experience. I highly recommend reading this physically. Digitally isn't working well. Really isn't working. No. Manga might be all right on the computer. I didn't think of that because I have manga series I want to read, but like, I didn't think about trying to see how I felt about reading one of them on my computer because the screen is bigger. You're fine with manga digitally. Manhwa is okay sometimes, so graphic novels and comics are rough. I don't know what manhwa is. I know what manga is, but I don't know what manhwa is. But graphic novels and comics are a pain, from what I've seen. You can't read them on your phone unless it's pure desperation. I agree, Omi. I've done it a couple of times, but it was not a fun experience. I wouldn't even attempt on my phone or a small screen. I just use my computer. I hadn't thought about the fact that I could use my computer. And that might work for mangas. something for me to keep in mind for the future. So in the next sprint, I'm going to go back to this, which is very exciting. And I'm probably going to get a blanket and some more water before I settle in, because I've got my air conditioner on, even though it's only like 70, because I found that keeping my room cool helps keep my computer nice and cool. So I think that is the plan. So let's unpause the timer, because I had a lot of comments to catch up on. And when it meows, we'll get into the next sprint. Okay, see you all in 30. How do we do? I'm on page 122. So we're getting there. This has definitely got more romance than I was expecting it to. They do have books by mail. I'm just worried that I would have to mail the books back, which would be another trip for my dad, and I couldn't just drop them off in the bin outside the library. So I've contemplated doing like one and to see how it works. I wouldn't be able to take out anywhere near as many books as I usually do because I think the limit is like 9. And I've been known to have like 20 books out from the library, but it would give me the opportunity to at least, get graphic novels and stuff. Although I will say a lot of the graphic novels I read tend to be queer anyways, so I don't mind supporting queer authors or people who are writing queer stories. Hello, text. How have you been? You didn't think of computer either. It's a great idea. It is. I hadn't contemplated trying to do that on a computer. It has to be easier than reading it on my phone. Manhwa is Korean manga, pretty much. A lot of webtoons are manhwa. Oh, okay. You learn something new every day. And Omi said, hey to text. And while I've got my little brainstorming crew here, because y'all are actually here, I think me and Omi have managed to pull together 23 or 24 prompts for the fall round of Strolling Through the Seasons. Mainly because I spent one night working on it because I am trying to find distractions in the middle of the night, so I was working on prompts and stuff. I was also staring at the list of names for Bugsy and trying to figure out who I wanted to do for that because November will come up fast, and I was like, well, if I can get this started, then I would be ahead of things. So I'm already brainstorming for that. And at some point, me and Omi have to start brainstorming for Series-a-thon for next year and Rocky's Rainbow Readathon and 27 and 27. It's all going to come up real fast. You may or may not figure out what you want to do. Yuck. Awful. Boo. We're supposed to have nice weather. And Amanda said hi to text, as did Phoenix. And Sue. And text said, hello to all of you lovely people and familiar names. Yep. The whole crew feels like they're here pretty much. You watch back the start and listen to first chat too. Sorry for all the chaos that's entered your life right now. It's been a lot. Like a lot. And then, like I said, I got sick in the middle of it, and we've had a heat wave, and we lost a cat, and it's not been a good time. Glad you're able to do something fun tonight. Me too. I have missed sprinting and chat with y'all. Hi, Amanda, and text and Omi. Also, not just fun, but normal. This feels very normal to me, and my life is anything but normal right now, so it's really nice to have that sense of normalcy. Amanda, if you're asking about my library system, it's not connected, it's tiny, and I'm too much of a leftist to be welcomed. Yeah. Phoenix doesn't have a great library situation. You're running to get ice cream, so you may miss the next chat. Hopefully you enjoy it, Nicole. You finished off the ice cream we got last night. I finished reading Life of Pi, so we got apple pie and ice cream and watched the movie last night. Sounds like a nice night in. You're being pulled for breathing treatment. Hopefully you will be back. Well, I do hope to see you when you're done, Mary. Amanda said, have a good treatment, Mary. Phoenix says, hope all goes well, Mary. See you later. Text has managed to get to page 472 of 521 of The Darkest Minds. Nice. Do you think you're going to finish it tonight? Sue still has a few pages. Sounds like you'll finish in the next sprint. You got to 56%, but I got Sprout ready for bed and sent the spouse off to work. Still a productive sprint. You were catching up on current events. Yeah, it's It's fiery and smoky here. That's a current event. I'll give you a positive current event that's sports related. Not that I think you care about sports, Phoenix, but today the Chicago Cubs had not all of them because some of them are still players, but as many of the 2016 World Series championship Chicago Cubs team in for the 10th anniversary. And fun fact, Anthony Rizzo sat in the bleachers, and the current first baseman, because Rizzo was our first baseman during the World Series, hit a home run directly to him. And this is the second time that's happened. And if I had a nickel for every time that happened, I would have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Thank you. I just sat down and I was like, what do we have? What else can I add? I need more. I don't have enough. Because I like having a few more than we need so I can kind of go, okay, which ones of these feel most fall-like? And work with the board, and I'm not limited to just a couple. So, very excited that my brain was cooperating because I want it done long before September. Ideally, I would have everything ready to go by like August 1st so I could film it in August and have like buffer time and not be putting everything together at the last minute. You're reading The Last Olympian. I'm probably supposed to read The Last Olympian this month. Whether I actually put it on my TBR or not is the question. You're like halfway done with Series-a-thon right on time. I'm almost done with the Easy Board. I think if I read what the ones that are on my TBR, let me just check. I think if I read the ones that are on my TBR for July, I will have one for the Easy Board. Where is... Let's check. Yeah, because I have Sir Callie in the Final Stand and Sir Callie and the Witch's War are both on my TBR. The Whisking Hour, I think, is on next month, so 2. Murder at the Seaside is on this month's TBR, and then I would have Goddess Stories. So if I read those 3, I would have The Whisking Hour and Goddess Stories. I have a lot for the hardboard. A lot. Because I still have... I have all 3 of my 5 or more books I need to read. I have 4 out of 5 of my Collecting Dust books to read. I have 3 out of 5 of my Wheelspin books to read. I can't even read the Different Genres book right now, my last Different Genres book, because, well, no, my second Different Genres book, because it's not out yet. So, I need I need to get to that. I've got plans though. I'm pretty sure I've got on my TBR spreadsheet all of my Series-a-thon books for the rest of the year. Kind of planned out. So they're all plugged in already. Just tell me which one you want help. All of them. Any ideas you've got, feel free to pass them my way, text. I was actually going to ask if you kind of wanted to like, now that you're getting more into the YouTube side of things a little bit, and obviously you do the stuff on Instagram, if you'd want to co-host Bugsy with us this year. I mean, Manda too, but I know Manda's busy with a lot of stuff. Your brain is still incredibly overwhelmed at even the thought of readathons prompt expectations. Nope, not for me currently. That is true, but you can also be a really good sounding board, Phoenix, when we get everything into place, of like, just glance at this. Does it feel balanced? Are we missing anything? Does everything look right? Is it too busy? Like, from the perspective of like with Cielo's, the first year I did it, you were the one who went, the board is really cool, but it's also very, very bright. How about you make a black and white one for those of us that need something a little less chaotic? So I think it is really important to have your eyes on things, even if it's not something you want to be massively involved with, because sometimes you notice things that the rest of us miss. You're basically mood reading this month, and we'll fill in what you can. Yep. I mean, I'm not doing that because I have TBRs, but like for the rest of the month, I can kind of read whatever I want once I get done with Mermaidathon. I keep calling it, it's Mermaid Marathon, not Mermaidathon. This feels familiar, so comfortable, and that's what I'm loving. I'm craving familiar. Me too. So did I text so much. I'm so glad you were able to sprint. I missed hanging out. Same. My computer seems to be all right. I think having the air conditioner on massively helps. You need to finish the book soon because it's a Library Libby book and somebody else is waiting for it. Audiobook. I have it till tomorrow. Also, how the heck is familiar spelled? Autocorrect wants to make it failure, which isn't helping. FAMILIAR. Looks like everybody agrees. That was great for me. I stink at spelling. You gotta love autocorrect. Thank you, Amanda. My dyslexic brain just got stuck. You should love autocorrect when you're trying to give a bunch of people updates about what's going on with your mom, and it constantly autocorrects things, and that's not what you meant to say, and then you have to correct yourself again. And you're feeling overwhelmed because you're trying to update like a bunch of people all at the same time. You're good, Phoenix. I'm constantly looking up how to spell things because my brain just gives up. I can't spell in general, so great reader, really terrible speller. Mainly because I didn't learn how to read with phonics. I learned how to sight read. So for me, I know how to see, like I can recognize words as I see them, but I don't know how to sound them out if I don't know how to spell them. And I am somebody who, it's a word I struggle with, will say it the way it looks, not the way it's pronounced. So like, if I want to write Wednesday, I say Wednesday to make sure I get all the letters. It's February, so that I remember there's an R there. Charlemagne becomes Charlie Magny. There's several like that. I'm sure I'm missing some, but there are a bunch of them where, like, if I have to spell them for some reason, I know how to pronounce the way they're spelled and the way it makes sense to me to say it based on the way it's spelled, not necessarily the way it actually sounds. You love people who can actually spell, not I said the fly. You've gotten stuck on spelling simple words, which is so embarrassing. I struggle with toilet. My mom jokes we get French toilet paper because we get Toliet paper. And even knowing that, so knowing that I spell it Toliet, I still write Toliet because that is how it should be spelled in my brain. Like then. Relatable. Yes. Ooh, that is super tempting. I would love to have the help. It would give us another brain, you know. I think Bugsies is something that is very much up your alley. And with everything going on with my mom, it would be nice to have help because who knows what's going to go on there. You can't spell definitely correct. If you notice, I don't ever spell that. I just say def, D-E-F, because I can't spell it. That's true. I can totally give an outside perspective and be a part of it. Exactly. We get everything set, and then we're like, okay, look at this. What do you think? How does it look? Are you missing something? Do these make sense? Like, I think it was sending it to you that made us realize last year that we had meant to include an Indigenous person on our Bugsies and just completely forgot. And we're looking at it, and I'm going, oh, we missed one. You just finished your last book for Mermaid Marathon text. I have The Tapestry of Fate and When the Tides Held the Moon. I started both of them. I started this last night because I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy it, and then I devoured the first 300 pages. I was very surprised. You have a short week after Mermaid Marathon. Nice. I do not have any readathons planned right now for August, and I'm actually kind of excited about that. Well, no, I have, I keep forgetting that Macy has one. I think it's Randomathon, but that's the only one. And I'm like, that's perfect. Just, we'll go with that, and that'll work. Kelly is chiming in with how to spell familiar. You're too overwhelmed for Shark Week, but I absolutely would love to do Shark Week. I've never even heard of it. I've heard of like Shark Week, like the shows and all of that on Discovery Channel, but I've never heard of the readathon. Spelling is half my job. I have autocorrect off on my phone, and it drives my daughter crazy when she uses it. I have it on because otherwise I would misspell words left, right, and center, like all the time, especially considering I think faster than I can type. So having the autocorrect means that it's correcting my spelling mistakes because I'm typing faster and I'm typing letters in the wrong order and stuff. You have a dictionary your grandma gave my dad, and I called how to spell it, where you can look stuff up by misspellings. Nice. That's how you spell Wednesday too. There is something to be said for being able to use something like that and knowing that it's pronounced Wednesday, and I don't say it that way, but in my head when I'm writing it, I say Wednesday so that I make sure I get all the letters. That's how I spell a lot of the time too. Beautiful will forever be beautiful. Yes. That L in toilet messes me up. Yeah. Tomorrow is Tom or Ro for me, along with others you've mentioned. Yep. You use defo. You may have noticed. Yeah. I don't mind that. Like, I would never ever use it if I was writing a book unless it was the way the character talked. And I certainly wouldn't use it in an academic paper, but I don't see any reason why when I'm just texting my friends, I can't, defiantly. Mm-hmm. I think when I was in school, I struggled with differently too. Okay, I can't tell the difference in writing between definitely and defiantly, and I'm not sure which is which often in writing, and writing this feels stupid because I don't know how to spell them. I'm assuming the first one was definitely and defiantly. You're a writer, not an editor. I'm the type of person that keeps those editors in business. Yes, that is true. That you can still be a writer if you can express your ideas and you got a really good editor. Yes, they're so close I can't spell either right. We editors appreciate authors who realize they need editors, Phoenix, which for the record is all of them. I'm also a writer and use an editor for my work. Well, I think it definitely helps. Like, one of the best things I did with my papers for school was, one, to have my parents read it, or two, to read it out loud to one of my parents, because I knew what I was trying to say. So oftentimes I would sometimes skip a word because I knew what I was trying to say. So I knew it was supposed to be there. Whereas when I read it out loud, I was much more likely to notice the fact that I had missed a word. And I think the grammar part can be really, really tricky if you're not super good at grammar, of like knowing when is there a comma, when is this become a run-on sentence? Have I missed like the punctuation when it comes to quoting when I'm speaking? Have I gotten that right? And especially as a writer, I think you're more focused on getting the thoughts out onto the page than you are on the nitpicky grammar stuff. And so having an editor come along and clean that up for you and make sure you caught everything is important. And also, I think when you're writing, it helps to have somebody to make sure that like what you said makes sense, because you know what you're trying to say. The person who's reading it doesn't know what you were trying to say. So did you say it in a way that makes sense to their brain? Shark Week is Paginator. It's 7 prompts and 1 is eating a snack. I had a snack. I had some Chex Mix during that sprint. And I'm going to dump this because it's mostly crumbs, but I had some Chex Mix. I'm also really excited to wash this out because it'll be a good container for something. I don't know what, but something. You want to check out Shark Week? I'm down to eat a snack for a prompt. Yeah, that's definitely probably going to be one of the non-reading prompts for the fall round, is a seasonal treat, because I think there's a lot of seasonal treats in the fall. I think that I would make up my own Shark Week prompts. I wasn't really into theirs, but I'm sure that they have already used the obvious ones in the past. Probably. That is one of the things I'm really, really nervous about for doing Strolling Through the Seasons next year, is how do I make it feel fresh when I feel like I've used all of the super obvious prompts? Because like some of them I think can come back kind of like series-a-thon, but like other ones I want to change up and I just don't quite know how to do it yet. Having multiple sets of eyes on things really is beneficial. It is. Which is why, like, I feel like which one it was, like, Cielo's Curious Chapters was stronger this year because I had you all on it, even if, you know, I was still the host and I was the one promoting it. You guys looked over the document and made sure I had everything. You helped me brainstorm it. we needed the extra help. And Mary's back. I've been talking long enough that Mary was able to get a breathing treatment. We've been very, very chatty. This is not, if I don't know if there's any lurkers here who don't normally watch my sprints, but this is not normally how it goes. Usually we're pretty good about keeping it under 5 minutes, but I haven't sprinted in so long, and it's like we're all kind of catching up. And Mary said thanks. And Tex loves M&Ms with Chex Mix. I don't know that I've ever tried M&Ms with Chex Mix. You got to make sure to get through those series so you don't have. Yeah, that would not be great. I have to go through my series jar again and pull a bunch out because I've completed a bunch and DNF'd a bunch. And Omi says, LOL, Amanda. I definitely don't want to do that. I've heard that from editor friends before. I've just never had the delusion that my writing wouldn't be improved with the help of an editor. I think everybody's writing would be helped with the improved with the help of an editor. My problem becomes is like when I'm writing papers, I do a lot of my drafts out loud. It was one of the things I did in school is I would go in and I would meet with my teacher for that course, and I would talk about what I wanted to write in the paper, and I would talk about it to my mom, and I would be thinking about it and mentally writing it while I was like dozing off. And so when I got my paper down, I struggled with feedback because to me, I wrote the exact thing I intended to write. And it was really hard for me to go, what do you mean you think I need to completely rewrite this? I said what I wanted to say. There was one course where I had to, like, one of the whole projects was to write a paper and then get feedback from our teacher and then rewrite it. And I hated that one because I was very confident in what I had written because to me, I wrote what I intended to write, and that was frustrating. I'm not very good at that part, which is probably why I have no intention of being a writer, but I do think that if you can take that in and have those editors, it's important because it will make you a stronger writer, especially if you're trying to write. Like, I also think there's a big difference between academic and like fiction writing, like book writing, because like some author I saw on Instagram was sharing their first drafts of different books and was talking about like the progress between some of their first drafts of books and like how they didn't show, they told, and different things like that, and showing how they've grown as a writer. And I do think that is also something to keep in mind when you're writing fiction. It's a completely different style of writing than it is academic writing. That's what I'm struggling with when it comes to my yearly challenge. I have to come up with 151 prompts, and I'm trying hard to not repeat prompts too closely. Yes. That's why I'm like, I wish y'all would give me more feedback that take part in the readathons. Are there prompts that you really enjoy? Because those ones that you think really work for, series-a-thon or whatever, because those are the ones that should be going forward, that you find really helpful. And then I want to come up with more creative ones that will make you pick up books that you maybe wouldn't have been drawn to as easily. That's why I like Trio of Trilogies, because there are so many trilogies out there. And I feel like a lot of us are really good at starting them, but not finishing them. So that one's a great prompt to continue to have on the boards. Kind of like there's, I guarantee, spoiler for the fall round, Set in Autumn is going to be one of the prompts, because I feel like that is you have to have that prompt on the board for these, because you should absolutely be reading a seasonal book during the season. Amanda said we just missed each other. Man, restream is slow. It's because you've been gone for too long. We're all having too much fun. Yes, and this is what I needed. I needed to have a normal night where I got to hang out with my friends. I haven't had that. This is different because we're playing catch up. It's been a while. It has. I promise you, my sprints are not normally this chatty. I can see how that would be tough, Amanda. It would, for sure. Amanda, let me know if you need help on any of the Pokemanda prompts. Yeah, you can pop in the brainstorming Discord, and we'll help you out if you need ideas. Having multiple brains working on it is always nice. I have multiple times had authors completely rewrite their manuscripts. Usually it's because what they thought they were communicating was not what they were communicating. Exactly. It's like, you know what you're trying to say, but you need to make sure that the person that you're writing for, or the people that you're writing for, are picking up what you're trying to put down and that you're doing it in a way that is interesting. And that can be really difficult. I have no idea how people write fiction books. I couldn't do it. It is not something that I have the capacity to do. I like that one too. I like the idea that we can switch up the letters every year. And like one of the things I've thought about is some letters are easier than others. And I was thinking that whatever year we do some of the really easy letters, you should have to kind of like the rainbow prompt, read them in succession, like alphabetically, to make it a little bit tougher. I also really liked the rainbow cover one. I get the frustration with knowing that what you've written, what you want to write. It's just always helpful to have outside feedback, both in fic and non-fic writing. Revision is just part of writing. I agree, but it's more of like when I've turned in that final draft, like to me, it's like if you wanted to revise something with me, you needed to do it earlier. But I don't write anything down. Like that's not how I write. I don't see why series-a-thon can't be the same like every year because we're not trying to start new things per se, but finish things we've already started. Yes, but I like switching up the prompts just to make you maybe pick up different books on your TBR. I like having a lot of the similar ones, but I also like throwing some different ones in there that make you like basically what I do when I start thinking about different prompts is I will pull up my series spreadsheet and go, okay, what prompts would cause me to pick up this book? Like looking at all of these different books, like what prompts will help me to pull in these different books, like, and also how many of these options do I have? Like how difficult do I think it's going to be? Because I know some people are much better about their series than I am. I really liked the one I did that I added this year, which was to start and finish a series in the same year. Because let's be real, every single one of us people that read series is going to start a series. So I really love the idea of picking up a series that you know is complete and just reading the whole thing in 1 year so that it's not dragging on for years. It really, truly is. Normally, this chatty bit is left for like the very end. You're really glad to be in such great company today. It's nice. So true, Kelly. Mm-hmm. True, Kelly. I keep starting new series, though. Yeah, I keep doing that, too. You've been so bad about starting new series this month. I'm actually doing pretty all right with that, I say, as I'm starting a series. What's going to kill my stats is that I realized I hadn't moved a bunch of the up-to-date series that had new books released in the last few months over to my in-progress spreadsheet. So, like, I had to move, like, 9 of them over. Oh, yeah, we definitely did. We absolutely did. I like having a mix of old and new prompts. It keeps things interesting, but it also has the comfort of repeated prompts that you know you can do because you've done it before. Exactly. I'd like the series-a-thon prompts to be almost all series-centered, like a third book in the series, a book in a series you get from the library. I mean, all of them are sort of series-centered with the idea of, like, you're not supposed to read books that aren't in a series. Yeah. I mean, part of mine, so I have 2 things. One, I have a bunch of ebooks I'm trying to get through, and a lot of them are the first in a series. So that is causing me to pick up and start new series, though not all of them are hits. A lot of them I end up DNFing, actually. I haven't been great about actually picking books at one point that I would actually like to read. And then the other is that I, like, for instance, the Aaron Hunters have just come out with a new series. Anna James has a new series. So some of my authors have wrapped up their old series and started new ones. And I've wanted to continue reading those. I think the Years and Decades was the only prompt that I had to start a new series for, so I'd have a book that worked. But that's just because I don't read a lot of older books, which is fair. I had, what did I have? On my series spreadsheet this year, I had Anne of Green Gables, I had Little Women, and I had Hercule Poirot. And I knew that I had those 3 at the very least that I could use, which meant I knew I was going to be all right for the most part with that one. And the reason we went with that one is because we were doing the 26 thing and we almost did 2 and 4. But we did 6 because 26, because we were creating all of these prompts. Like we created all of the prompts pretty much for 26 and 26, all of the new series of thumb prompts, and all of the prompts for Rocky's Rainbow Readathon in the space of like 48 hours. That is a good one. That is a good one. Because there's a lot of those out there. Like Sea of Charms is one I need to get to. And I saw it on Instagram earlier that book 4 in that series is coming out in, I want to say, January. And it's called The Magical Cheese Emporium. So that could be really, really good because I count those as series. Like they're on my series spreadsheet because they take place in the same world. We should note that one down, Omi. You've been pretty good about keeping up with my series that still have books coming out. I am doing all right with that. I'm trying to stay on top of it. It's hard, though, because I have so much I have to read. You started 2 series this month, the last book, and one comes out next month, and no idea when the other one comes out. Yes, that interconnected one on Pokemanda is a good one, but a tough one. I have 2 series that I can choose from for that one. That's only, like, hopefully, like, I always worry about, like, whether somebody is going to read those types of series, because it depends, like, if you read those types of books. I accidentally start series all the time because I didn't check past, oh, that book sounds interesting. I like the ones where it's like, here is a standalone. It's 6 years later. Oh, wait, actually, it's not a standalone. We're going to release another novel. Like, The Midnight Train came out, and that was originally a standalone series. And they decided to write another book. I've had several of those where, like, I thought I was reading a standalone, and then I found out, nope, you were actually reading a series. You just didn't know it. A new release in a series you're in the middle of. Well, new release kind of covers that. We have a new release prompt, and that's the idea, is to read the newest release in the series you're in the middle of. Text. I'm counting Warriors for that. Rick Riordan would work well, too. Yes. I mean, they're not standalones per se, but they are interconnected series that are all set in the same world. In theory, for Rick Riordan, you could also do the Kane Chronicles and Magnus Chase, because they are set in the same world. You're working on finishing Miss Marple. I haven't started that yet. I want to finish Pro and then move on to Miss Marple. Yeah, this is what happens. We get on a... We have me, Text, Manda, Omi, and Phoenix have a Discord that is just like a brainstorming Discord. And we'll sit in... Sometimes we'll sit in there and we'll have a conversation where we start throwing ideas back and forth. Because one of us gets an idea and it just snowballs. I'm either doing Warriors or this other detective series that I forgot the name of. Kelly, feel free to share all those in the Discord. There's a channel where you can send all those thoughts so we don't use them. Yeah, I think in the Phase Out Discord, there is a section for prompt ideas. Does it count that I read everything by Agatha Christie many moons ago, like by the time I was 11? Probably reread most of them at least once, if not more. I didn't read a single Agatha Christie book until like 2022. You love the Years and Decades prompt. I haven't completed it, but it did have me put a lot of books I need to read on TBR for it. Same. It helped me get through the what is it called? Oh, Howl's Moving Castle series. It made me pick up Lemony Snicket again. It got me, I think, a Hercule Poirot book. Like, it definitely helped me focus on some stuff that I wouldn't have maybe picked up. Staying on top of my current series is basically my way of keeping up with the readathon without actually interacting with it. That's true. You could also, if you wanted to, at the end of the year, look at the books you read and see if you managed to get a bingo. That way you're not putting the pressure on yourself to actually do the prompts. It's more of a, this is what I read this year. Let's see if they've matched the prompts at the end of the year. I love the idea of Years and Decades. It's such a unique one and definitely made me think. And it makes you really look at, like, what are you reading? Are you only reading recent books? because there are a lot of good books out there that were released a while ago that are worth picking up and looking into. I like the different locations and the genres. Me too. I really, really like that one. I thought that was creative because I feel like most of us probably read more than one genre if we're reading series. So the odds are that you have the three genres, and then the locations are just fun. And it somehow managed to completely work a little bit with Herkiad 3.0 because one of those, like, there's a couple of those prompts where you need to read like from different regions, and you need to do like the road trip in the United States, and you could easily cross over those two with your Herkiad prompts. Oh, just interconnected series. Yeah, then Rick Riordan definitely works. Yeah, Tex and I were talking about the Pokemani one, which is to read 3 books from 2 separate interconnected series, which is tough for sure. I've definitely done that this year, multiple times. I'm the mostly non-existent one in it. My brain decided to boycott Discord for months, starting to make my way back in for messages at least, not groups yet, though. Yeah, but it's all there. When you're ready, you can always go back and see what we were talking about. It's just more of a, like, I want you to be included when you feel up to being included, especially considering, like I said, you have such a great perspective. Your Lady Janie's is an interconnected standalone series. A lot of the romance novels, a lot of times, are interconnected standalones. Callback for the win. That would involve me finishing books. I've got plenty. I've got however far through. Few I've finished. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm doing horribly with that, which I think is probably partly because of everything going on with my mom, that I just constantly switch book. I'm currently in the middle of 12 different books right now. I never am in the middle of that many books. Some of my older series I can't actually get the books for, so sadly I had to DNF those. That stinks. Could you, like, I don't know if you have a spreadsheet like I do, but could you make it a, like, section on your spreadsheet of, like, series you want to continue, but, like, it's hard to find the books? And then try to find them at, like, garage sales or library sales, or even put a list out of, like, books that maybe people might have and could send you. Or keep an eye out for when they're looking on, like, Book Outlet or Amazon. Not that I want to use Amazon, but sometimes they do, like, if you can't find it anywhere else, I suppose. Thrift books, Pango, that kind of stuff. I love that you keep me included. I know I can go back whenever, and that is reassuring. Yes, that's my thing, is, like, when you feel up to popping in, it's there. And we all know that, like, you know, you're not ignoring us. You're just, you know, popping in when you feel up to it. Storm is back, so I might randomly disappear. That stinks, Omi, and I agree with Amanda. Stay safe. Sounds like you're experiencing a version of what I am. Brain is just, like, time to switch. For us, misfires due to stress, maybe? That's possible. That is absolutely possible. Some of it is, like, I was reading Spectrums and Treeline, and they were just too much for my brain at the time. Some of them were because I ended up reading, like, other books ended up taking priority, and I just haven't circled back. That probably should be my vlog for next week, is finishing all the books I'm in the middle of. I could do that. Jaws is one of them. I read book 1, but the other 2 books are rare. It'd just be a way to keep track of it, and, you know, you never know, like, who might have a bead on one of them. Understood, Omi. I'm watching to see if the storm comes or goes around. Storms are no fun. Your lights just flickered. Man! It's a lot more scary now that my mom's on oxygen for our power to go out. Makes it a lot more stressful. Thanks, Amanda. Poor puppy did not want to go out last time. No. Storms are scary. Oh no, stay safe too, text. Everyone stay safe. Yes. And with that, I think I'm caught up on on the comments. So I'm going to pause the timer so we can read. And I will see everyone in 30. How do we do? I'm now on page 173. This is a lot more romance than I was expecting in this book. Even though it's called The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. I knew there was going to be like a romance plot, but I didn't realize it was going to be almost like the main focus. I didn't know Jaws was a series either. Honestly, I'm not sure I knew that Jaws was a book. The temp dropped down to 78. The storms are surrounding me, but not actually hitting here. Should be in the 60s. Where I'm at. I'm looking. Nope, 71 still. Wow. It is going to go down in the 60s tonight. We have a really nice like upcoming forecast. Like it's highs of 78, 81, 77, 77, 78, 82, 84, 82, 81. And then we have lows of 57, 49 in July, 58, 63, 55, 52, 57, 59, 60. Much more my speed than the beginning of the month where it was like, yeah, you're going to have a high of like 97, but it'll feel like 108. And at night, we won't even get down past like 75. The other two books were written by a different author. I've seen that happen. Like, isn't there a new Miss Marple book? Or new, maybe not Miss Marple, but isn't there a new like Agatha Christie book that was written by somebody else? Made it back for part of the chat. Ate my banana pudding ice cream. Now time to read. Nice. My computer still seems to be doing all right. I was just checking to see how the temperature was. Grumble, looking at the forecast, there's no days under 90 through the end of the month. So tired of the stupid heat. That is miserable. That makes sense about Jaws. It does. Yikes. Sorry about the heat, Phoenix. That sounds miserable. It really, really does. It wouldn't be as bad if I had a break from the heat in the winter, but our usually cold winters had days in the 80s and very little snow. I crave the cold. Yeah. I'm already ready for winter and we're only in July. Also, we're not getting hit by regular storms even though it's monsoon season and we ought to be getting storms daily. Instead, dry drought fire season. That stinks. Folks, it was nice catching up with everyone. Chris, prayers and warm thoughts for your family. Nurses back. Good night. Thank you for joining us, Mary, and thanks for prayers and warm thoughts. Amanda said good night to Mary. And Nicole is pages from finishing. Nice. You should finish in the last sprint. And Tex said night to Mary. You only got to page 383 because something happened in the book and I fell down a rabbit hole to look up the historical inspiration. Fascinating. I love seeing where people get their ideas. It's one of the reasons why I really like Bugsy's Journey Through Time being nonfiction and historical fiction, because a really good historical fiction is going to teach you something about the time period and the locations because they put a lot of effort into making things historically accurate usually. You got to 75% and I should be able to finish in the next sprint as long as Sprout goes to bed sometime soon. Well, the next sprint is going to be the last one because I don't want to push my computer too hard. So we got more sprints in, but we got really chatty today. 493 of 521. Nice. You decided you really need to do some AC maintenance in hopes that it would stop being so stupidly noisy. I'm hoping mine isn't too bad for y'all, but there's no way I was turning it off. Night Mary, see you again soon. Yes, hopefully. I am going to try to sprint tomorrow, but we'll see. I can't make any promises because it depends on A, how I'm feeling, B, how many spoons I have, and C, how my day goes. Jaws is a great book, but there are hundreds of take-off books on the movies. Honestly, I don't think I knew Jaws was a book first. We get down to 70, maybe 60 at night. Yeah. Not great. I did not like when it was in the 70s at night. That's too hot. James Patterson has a book that has 3 detectives, including Miss Marple. It definitely was, I think it was a female author. But I don't remember for sure. It wasn't, I would have remembered James Patterson. Finished my book, worked on my reading journal. Nice. Did you enjoy your book? Night Mary, sleep well. Holmes, Marple, and Poe. Oh. The James Patterson books are good. At least 2 books. I've read some Patterson in the past. It's so fun when historical fiction sends you down a real rabbit hole. I love when that happens. It is very interesting when it's like, huh, I didn't know about this thing. Let me go look that up. You own that book and should read it at some point. Yes. Same Phoenix. It's why I love historical fiction. I mean, I'm not going to say every historical fiction book because obviously there are exceptions to the rule, but I feel like for most of them, the authors put in a whole heap ton of work to make sure that they're being historically accurate. And if for some reason they're not in some way, shape, or form, they usually let you know that where they took liberties in the like author's note at the end. I know there was one historical fiction I read. It was a graphic novel, and they said at the end they wanted to take this opportunity to let the reader know that I don't remember what it was, but like there was another group of people who were highly important to this particular time period, and they didn't feature much in this book because they didn't feel like they could authentically write those characters, and they wanted to leave that open to somebody from that background. And I thought it was really cool how they wanted to make sure we were aware of the fact that there was another whole group of people that were important to this story in like the historical time period, and that two, they wanted us to know but didn't feel like they could do a good job of writing from a background that is not theirs, so they left that open. And that's why you're not seeing as much of it, because they wanted to focus on the part of the story that they knew they could write that was you know, from their what is it? Oh, what is the word I'm looking for here? My brain is very tired. Yeah, my brain is just like, I'm trying to remember. It was either the author was either like Chinese or Japanese and was saying like they could write from that perspective, but it was maybe like indigenous, and they weren't. The indigenous people were massively involved, but they didn't feel like they could or should be writing that particular aspect of the story. It was something like that. I loved it. The second one is good too. Nice. I can't hear it over my own and my ambiance going, so no clue. Well, fair. Like I said, well, then it's obviously not bothering you. It was a prequel to the book Flukes about a mermaid. I've never heard the book Flukes, but I'm glad you got through your mermaid book. I'm listening to Frozen River because it's based on a real person and events, and it's in a time out right now for emotional reasons. Didn't I read that earlier this year? I feel like I did. I think I read it for Donner's Winter Wonderland. And yes, that was an extremely hard book to get through. If I'm thinking of the right book and it's the same book. You adored Frozen River, but yes, it's super emotional. I requested Ariel Lawhon's next book on NetGalley. We'll see if I get to it. Okay. I believe I'm now caught up. There we go. Things have moved on Restream. So we're going to take up the banner because this is going to be the last sprint. I will unpause the timer, and I will see you all in 30. How did we do? I'm now on page 208. Definitely should be able to finish this before morning. Because, well, I will still be reading. I have all night. I'd have read more, but I had a parental interruption right at the start of the sprint, so alas. I have 4 hours and 4 minutes left, which is an hour 23, like in real time. The midwife who kept a log at Frozen River jogging. Yes. I read that in January, I think, or like late the end of last year, and it was a hard read. Finished your AC maintenance. Finished my AC, maintained done. Less furry and dusty so can breathe. On quieter and more efficient. Also dumped the bucket. It had sucked over 2.5 gallons of what? Water? You read a bit in Treasure Island. I'm assuming that is one of your Mermaid Marathon books, Sue? Thank you for the sprints. It was fun to catch up with everyone. It was really nice hanging out with y'all. I needed this. And Tex said, night, Sue. It was so nice to hang out with everyone again. I've missed this. Seems like we're all agreeing. You finished your book? Nice, Nicole. Did you enjoy it? Thanks for sprints. You're very welcome. 514 of 521, but it says 85%. That's weird. That's really weird. You made it to 419 of 514. I will not finish it tonight. I've got to head to bed. Well, thank you for joining me, Kelly, and thank you for hosting all of your sprints. They have been fantastic company and have really helped me get through this rough batch. You've been lurking. Thanks for sprints. Hope you have a good night. Well, thank you for joining us, Talonda, even though you were lurking. It was fun as always. Great seeing everyone. It was really, really nice to get to hang out with everybody for the first time in months. And Tex said, way to go, Nicole. Yes. You guess your brain is done writing. Yeah, I was looking at that going like, I feel like Phoenix is losing words right now. Water. Okay. Yeah, I was like, I hope it's water and not that you filled up a 2.5 gallon bucket with dust and fur. That's a lot of dust and fur. You got Legends and Lattes, the graphic novel done and got it reviewed. Sprout is still awake though, so. Did you enjoy it? AC dehumidifier. Humidity gets up to like 97% at night and in the morning. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. It was really good. I'm happy to hear that, Nicole. And Phoenix said, hey, Talonda, glad we could keep you company as you lurked. Yes. Any lurkers out there, I'm really glad that you hung out with us, and I hope you had a good time and found these sprints productive, or at least enjoyed hanging out with, people and getting some socialization. Yes, I still have a couple of books to finish. Like I said, I have 2. I have I don't even remember what I was reading, A Tapestry of Fate for. Pirates, maybe? And then, if I can get it, there we go. And then I have When the Tides Held the Moon, which, like I said, I'm on page, 275 of 438. So I should finish this tonight. But I read all of that last night. Well, earlier this morning. And one of the really cool things about this book, which I was really excited because I was wondering how that was going to factor into things, is that there's illustrations throughout the book, some of which are full page and some of which are like that, where they're like inserted into the text, which I actually really like. There we go. I hope that we have more sprints from you. That's the plan. I'm going to try to do it again tomorrow because this seemed to work and my computer, seemed to hold up. I haven't been using my computer much during the day because it's too much. So I think having it off more often than not has helped. You did 5 stars for me. I think that the experience would have been, even better physically. I definitely want to get this one when it comes out. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm big into my pre-orders because I usually do it where I'm either getting like 40% off for members from Books A Million, or I'm doing the 25% off pre-sale for Barnes & Noble, and because I'm a Barnes & Noble member, I save another 10 on top of that. You did keep your words for quite a while today. Omi made some progress in the last Olympian by getting to page 123. Nice. I'm hoping. I'm going to try, because most of you are regulars. I wouldn't be surprised if the lurkers are also regulars, and y'all understand that, like, I'm doing the best I can. So if it does crash, we'll just roll with it, and I'll, pop back on and try to restart the sprints. So, yeah, not a bad night, if I do say so myself. I can take that down now. So how much did I read? 209 pages, and we did 4 sprints. That's not bad. So very happy I picked this up. I don't know that I'm loving it. It's very different than what I expected. We'll see how I feel at the end. But I also really, really love the cover. I just think the cover is so cool. And like I said, I'm hoping to sprint tomorrow. I'm going to try. It was very nice to chat with everyone. It really, really was. And hey, we even sort of did some readathon work. Because we talked about it. We at least touched on it. All of the Skate 8 million readathons that me and Omi have on the go that we have to somehow figure out how to do in the next, month. Well, not month, but like I don't want to have to do it all in 2 days this time. I want a ton of stuff done long before December. You're very welcome, Nicole. Thanks for the sprints. So glad to hang out with everyone again. It was really nice. And Sue said, night, everyone. And Omi said, thank you for sprints. And Nicole said, night. Phoenix had a wonderful time. See you again soon, we hope. And Tex said, this was awesome. Thank you for the awesome company. And I think on that note, I'm going to head out. Thank you all for joining me, and I will hopefully see you again tomorrow.